guys, Terry from Smooth's Workshop here. It's been thundering, it's been raining, I can't sleep, it's a bit warm tonight, so I thought we'd do another inbox review, or unboxing as some people refer them to. It's another Tamiya 112 scale motorcycle. It's part number 14058. It's a Yamaha FZR750R. Racing terminology 0W01. So without any further ado, let's go and have a look at the kit. Right guys, welcome back, Terry from Smooth's Workshop. Right, the kit we're going to review is, as I said previously, the Tamiya 112 scale kit, Yamaha FZR750R 0W01. Right, let's have a little look at the box art. Again, as per Tamiya, beautiful box art. Of course, Yamaha have licensed the product, so all the original decals and everything's on it. Good thing about this kit, Cartograph decals. Ooh. Funny thing about this kit is, my previous review on the kit number below this, the VFR 750, which was made in 1989, which is still available. This one was a new tool in 1990, so it's a 27-year-old kit, but it's got Cartograph details and all that, decals, which is better than the previous kit that I reviewed, because I'm doing them in numerical order of what I've got in my stash. It's not easy to get. It's what I would call a vintage kit, obviously because it's 27 years old. The only place I've seen to get it is eBay, and the cheapest one I've seen was at eBay Australia, and it was about 35 quid plus shipping, and they go upwards of that. So that's the front box art. Only been one tooling of it, as I say, back in 1990, so it's a 27-year-old kit, and it's depicting the motorcycle with a clear fairing on the top showing the engine detail and everything like that. This one's a liquid cooled 4-stroke double overhead cam in line 4, which is a bit more like the modern bikes. Usual realistic rubber tyres with all your cables and all the rest of it. Side box art, wee bit in Japanese, and just a little bit of colour call outs. I'm trying to make these quicker with a clear fairing on. Other side's pretty much the same. This time it details the bike with a painted front fairing, and that's it detailed there, and a wee bit about the one-piece rear swing arm. As per usual, on the end of the box with these kits, it details the kit, and it's the 58th kit that Tamiya ever made. Try to speed these reviews up so that I don't waffle on too much. I won't be going into so much detail on the instructions, so if you're not used to Tamiya instructions by now, heaven help you. So I'm going to unbox it, and I'll just stick this behind here. My last kit review was 37 minutes, I'm really trying to get down from that. Right, okay, so we're going to go on to the instruction sheet. I'll just pull my camera up a little bit if I can. There we go, that's a bit better. Right, so the usual black and white picture on the front, detailing the bike, a little bit of blurb about it. I'll just hold that there, and there, so if you want to freeze frame it. Let's see, can we get into it? There we go. As per the modern Tamiya kits, it details all the paints that you need. Again, we're on to the TS spray cans. It's recommending a couple for this, and all your standard bike colours and what tools to use. Starting off with the frame in this one, so again it's good. You can do the frame first. Next bit onto the engine, which means you can do the engine and paint that up next. Because I've done quite a few of these reviews, I'm trying not to spend too much time on instructions, but again, we're still on engine detail. More engine detail, carburetors on, and engine into frame. So the good thing about this particular kit is you can paint your frame up, paint your engine up, and then put the two together. That was 5. Then we're detailing a few ancillary parts that go on, cables and such like. Typical Tamiya build order: rear wheel, disc, sprocket, chain, tyre, caliper. Mounting that onto the rear swing arm and the chain guard. As I say, I'm just glancing through these now because they're all the same. Rear suspension unit with a real spring, paint colours, rear paddock stand, rear swing arm assembly into the bike, detailing how it all goes together. Okay, pretty basic stuff. This is what I would term one of their mid-range kits again. Then we're on to the next bit, as standard as all Tamiya: exhaust, onto the bike, airbox, radiator, rear lights, number plate, and then front wheel, tyre, discs, seat, rear cowl assembly. Then we're on to the front suspension, forks, mudguard, top and bottom yokes, all the cabling, tank, ram air intakes, putting the tank on the bike, front forks on the bike, rear cowling on the bike, front fairing stabiliser bar or mounting bar. As per all the rest, speedo binnacle with the rev counter and everything on it, water temperature gauge, headlights, all pretty standard stuff going with Tamiya kits. Front fairing going together, front fairing going onto the bike. So the good thing on this one again is that you can put all the front fork assembly on, then put the fairing on. Mirrors, indicators, rear paddock stand, bottom belly pan, all pretty basic standard Tamiya stuff. And that's it. There's no back page. So that's that out the way. We have an extra little sheet in here. And the extra sheet on this one is basically just decal callouts, telling you where to place all your decals. Okay, so rather than it being on the back page, as some of the earlier ones, separate decal callout sheet. That's that done. Okay, what's in the box? As per my model below, there is a separate box with clear parts in. So we'll just flip this tab up, and take out the clear parts. Now, I've not been in it, this kit, since I bought it, so there are staples in here. Take care when taking them out because they're a pain in the backside for catching your fingers. Tamiya tend to staple all their bags together. Crinkle crinkle. Some folk hate that noise, but it doesn't bother me. Fox. Crinkle crinkle. Right, we have some clear parts in here. Pretty much like the last kit I reviewed. We have a clear fairing. I'm just looking for my pointing stick. There are, it's very well detailed. It's in clear plastic. There are, however, now this bike allows you to put a clear fairing on so you can show all the parts off, or you can paint the fairing and make it look like a normal bike. There are ejector pin marks on the inside and some seam lines which do show through the clear plastic, so that might be an issue. Also the belly pan, it's also in the clear plastic. Same again, there's a couple of ejector pin marks here and there. Optical clarity on it, it's thick and thin, so it's not windscreen quality, but it's really smooth on the outside. The inside has the low and the high points, so if you were painting it as a normal model, it'd be fine. As far as going for see-through stuff, it's not the best. Typical twin headlights for your clears, rear light and 4 indicators, same as the last kit. So moving on, so I'll just put this back in the bag. I haven't actually had this since I bought it out any of the bags to look at. I buy a lot of my vintage or rarer to get kits on eBay because I want to build up the back catalogue. I do wish Tamiya would re-release some of these models because a lot of guys like myself, getting to a certain age, slightly more disposable income that we didn't have in the 80s when these kits came out, and would like to see them again. So that's that box of bits and bobs. Okay, going into the standard Tamiya bag of goodness. We have two rubber tyres with a detailed tread pattern on them. Very nice, so it's a road going bike. There is a small seam of flash around the rubber. Your standard Tamiya screwdriver, as I've mentioned before, I do prefer to use jeweler screwdrivers. These do tend to slip, but they're capable of doing what's in the kit. You've got a bag with screws. You've got three long ones, so that's rear wheel, front wheel, and the steering yoke for the forks. 1, 2, 3, 4 for fairing, and another 4 there, possibly for mounting the engine. You have, I'm just trying to see if we can get it there. There is a spring. There is a length of tubing which will be for radiator, and a length of tubing in there for all your brake lines and everything. And that's the bag of goodness that you get with pretty much every Tamiya kit that you get. Okay, going into what's in the box, we've got 1, 2, 3 sprues. I'm just going to put this to the side just now. We have 3 sprues, D, B and C. So A must be the clears. So we're going to go on to, again, staples in these. So I'll just pull the, oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Watch you don't stab your fingers on these guys, they're a pain in the backside, but some kits heat seal them, Tamiya like to staple them. So 2 sprues in here. I don't like the idea of 2 sprues in the bag. Only reason being that the white plastic is a lot softer than the black plastic, and one tends to mark the other. So we're going for the next sprue, which is sprue B. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down here and we're going to get a closer look at it. So, usual Tamiya standard, sprue A, what does it have? Well, it looks here like we have the paddock stand, moulded in 2 halves. Good point, front mudguard is 1 cast moulding with 2 small sprue gates, so that's going to make painting a lot easier. We've got a number plate down on this side. This looks again like mirror inserts, and there are no mirror decals as far as I know, so we're going to have the usual problems with the earlier kits of trying to replicate mirror surfaces. We've got 2 wheels here that are single casts, and there's a nice crisp amount of detail on there. Couple of fairing parts and the 2 mirrors. Now what I am noticing in some of these parts is there is a bit of flash here and there. Now remember, this is an early Tamiya kit, it's 27 years old, it's not as crisp as some of their newer toolings, and you will have a bit of flash and stuff to clean up. Up here we have the little bar that supports the front fairing. There is a lot of seam lines and stuff on all of these parts, so I'm guessing that the whole kit's going to be the same, that you're going to have a lot of seam line dress up and a bit of flash to take off the stuff, as well as your usual sprue gates. This has got the ram air induction pipes. There's a seam line all the way up here, so trying to carefully dress this up to get rid of the seam line is going to be fun. The rear seat cowling is in 2 parts, so when you glue it together, yes, you're going to have to address the seam line and level it off, and quite a bit of flash on this as well. Good point is the tank is a 1-part moulding, but there is flash and stuff round about, so it will require some dress up. The exhaust, the main downpipe going into the exhaust and the rear silencer, and the other downpipes are all on here, but there is seam lines all the way down, so they're going to require some dress up. Overall, lots of nice detail. I mean, the X up on here, don't know if you can make it out. Actually, what is it? Aye, is it X up? Aye, X up is the power valve system that they used on this particular bike. That's nice and crisp on there, but there's a seam line right up the side. So yeah, you're going to have some seam line dress up on this, but it is a vintage kit. So we'll go on to the next sprue. So that was sprue B, and there's no additional information cast on the back of that sprue. And the next one is sprue C, which is a black sprue. And let us just have a little look at this. We have the chain and sprocket set, nicely detailed. You can see all the rivets on the chain and the links on the chain and all the nuts and everything round about there. That's all nice and crisp. We have the handlebar and brake lever assembly and everything like that. Again, nice and crisp. There are seam lines on it though. The rear mudguard or inner mudguard is an all one piece casting. Bit of dress up on that. Radiator, nicely detailed with all the fins and everything. Again, a wee bit of dress up of seam lines on the side, but nothing major. Your 4 spark plugs here and your airbox. This looks like the bottom yoke for the 2 front forks, and then you've got your speedo assembly there, and then you've got your one side your headlights, and the seat doesn't look to be any sinkage on it. The rear sort of tail tidy that holds indicators and the rear number plate, that's there. Rear caliper, link rod, suspension cap, not quite sure what that is. 4 carburetors, 2 indicators, rear suspension and the small seat pad. As per usual with all the Tamiya kits, I'm just trying to see if I can get the light on this so you guys can see what I'm on about. Good thing about these kits, even though you get seam lines and everything, is all the ejector pin marks, so when they pop in the plastic out the mould, wee pins come up and push the plastic out, but they're all on the back. So there's 4 there, you know, there's 2 there, a couple there. They're all in places that are not normally seen. So all in all, very well made. Bit of dress up on the seam lines and everything, but that's to be expected with a vintage kit. The modern kits are, the tooling is far better, they've got CAD design and all that sort of stuff. Not quite sure how they made them back in these days. Probably somebody crafted a model and then they moulded it from it. Right, so we're going into the final sprue, which is sprue D, and it doesn't have a date on it, so yeah, it's original tooling of 1990. Yeah, 1990. Watching a thing on TV last night about what category do you fall into. Are you the X, Y or Z generation? Well, I'm from the X, Generation X. Generation Y is what we call the millennials, and Z are the newbie folks. Right, okay, so, interesting. Right, this is sprue D, and I can already see that one of the engine castings is flimsily off here on the end. Opening itself to falling off, but yeah, not too worried about that, that'll be fine. So on here, what have we got? This looks like a frame spar, a couple of wee pieces that look like top of carburetors or top of shocks, rear disc. This looks like something to do with the rear suspension. The 2 front forks, no chrome on this. Thumbs up again, Tamiya, no chrome. So the front forks, although you'll have to address a couple of wee seam lines up the side, you're not going to have to strip chrome off them. Top rocker cover, again nicely detailed with all the wee bolts and all the things like that, so it's really quite crisp. A few seam lines to address. Single piece rear swing arm, again beautifully moulded, a few seam lines to address. The left and right sides of the frame on here, that looks like a sump. Front brake discs, something to do with suspension linkage, rear chain guard, side casing, lower upper crankcase, or sorry, the way it's cast, yeah, upper crankcase and lower crankcases. So pretty much really good detail, bit of clean up on it. Again, this part's going to fall off, so I'm just going to take it off. All the ejector pin marks are on the back, which is a bit of a pain for the front brake disc because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on each one of those, but you tend not to see them, so it might be worth sanding those down. But certainly on the engine casings and stuff, there's 2 in there, you're not going to see them. So that's all the parts. So I'm just going to grab the bag for that and put that back in. Hopefully the audio is working for this, because if I lose audio, quite often I shoot these videos and my camera plays silly beggars and I lose audio and I give up. Right, so the last thing in the box is the decals. I'm just going to pull those out. Now they're saying these are Cartograph decals, so I'm just going to carefully take out the staples for here. Now bearing in mind this could possibly be a 27-year-old kit, although it might not be. I mean, they did keep making them, but the original tooling was 27 years ago. I don't know if I've got any yellowing on these. I've never looked at them since I got the kit. You will come out the bag. You will come out the bag. Trying not to damage these. Right, okay. Wow. This is a lot better. Right, I'm just going to pull my camera around. These are Cartograph decals. The level of detail on these and the way they managed to print everything in register, like that FZR and the Speedos and the Olin shock. Everything's in register, everything's nice and crisp. It even says made by Cartograph on the bottom. They're a lot thinner too, easier to apply compared to the Tamiya decals. So I would actually, and there's no yellowing on any of these, the X up, even though this could potentially be a 27-year-old kit, the X up is white and crystal clear. So really liking the decals on this. So there goes another inbox review for Tamiya's Yamaha FZR750R, or in the racing terms the OW or 0W01, part number 14058. As I say, I'm not seeing it listed on any major online retailers. You can get it on eBay. The cheapest I've seen was Australia. It was about £34.47 plus shipping, but I've seen them going a lot higher. I'm hoping that Tamiya reintroduce some of these kits, but at the moment it's quite strange because the model number below this, the 14057 Honda VFR 750, is still available from major retailers, but the model one up from it, this one, is getting harder to find, which is a bit strange. And the one below has the horrible Tamiya decals, and this one's got lovely Cartograph decals. So anyway, it's trials and tribulations of trying to build up all the vintage kits to try and eventually get them all. So this is number 58 in the line, and this is me, Terry from Smooth Workshop, saying I hope you enjoyed this. See you later. Bye.